Alright guys, we're back here for part 3. Right now working on getting the back tire off. Get this thing down all the way to the frame. And then we can start sanding the frame and all that good stuff. Chain's already off, so there's no tension. Don't necessarily have to worry about that. Let me grab that with something there. Something that's got a little grip to it. That should just slide right out. Hard to keep it still though. There we go. And then put the keeper and the nut back on so we don't lose it. The caliper should be on that brace that should be on a bracket that we just took off. Let's see. Yeah, it goes through there like that. See if we have enough room to. Should be able to keep the caliper together. Don't know that we have enough room though to slide that tire. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. So this one it's held here by the original tensioner. Let's go ahead and take those out. But there's see if you can see what I see. There's a track right here that the bolt goes through here that holds your caliper bracket, but it's also embedded here. We may end up having to take the caliper off separately from the brace. Sometimes you can get it to pop out just like that. And there's your brake caliper. And just like that, back wheel is off. Let's check it out here. There's another spacer. And your sprocket. We're replacing all that anyway, but these here I wanted to check and see how bad they were. Your dampeners. I'll probably soak those. Probably can reuse those. They're not too terrible. But we're going to be redoing the rims completely, so let me put this spacer over here with the caliper. When I'm done, just so you know, I bag everything up and label it. I've done so many of these, I can tell by what part it is, where it goes, so there's no problem there. Then I bag it up and label it for reassembly. Use the bench grinder with the wire brush. any bolts I'm reusing. I wire brush them all back to chrome, and if they're look halfway pitted or whatever, then I will spray them with a little chrome paint. Sometimes I just buy a bolt kit, and I may do that on this bike. I may honestly just buy a whole new bolt kit. So let's get that battery box out. It's going to be an 8mm. I think I used my 8 over here earlier. Don't worry, I have a bunch of 8mm, so let's just grab another one here. If you guys are like me, the little millimeters are commonly used. Have a ton of them. For the sake of time, it's easier just to grab another one. But yeah, that's an 8mm on the battery box. Look at the battery box full of sand and dirt and absolutely grossed out. So we'll be soaking this and cleaning it real good. While I'm thinking of it, the guy I bought the bike from is a subscriber, and a really super good dude. His name's Ron. I won't say any last names. Want to give him a shout out and thank him for selling us the bike. He always wanted to do this with this bike, but time and life get in the way sometimes. So with that being said, I wanted to give him a shout out. He's also a Army veteran, so shout out to the soldiers that allow us to be free and do this kind of stuff. Appreciate all your all that you do for us and our country. Moving on, we're gonna get the rest of the wires off. I believe I'm gonna go ahead and stabilize the front end. Go ahead and get the swing arm off, and then well, while we're here, let's go ahead and take off the taillight assembly. Undo all the wiring. Might as well, while we're just there. 12mm. That's probably spinning on the back side, so see if we can stop that spinning. There we go. If you're watching along, you'll notice that 9 times out of 10, when I take something out, it goes, well, that's a flathead screw there. That's different. I guess that the actual bolt there is missing, but probably got lost over the years and somebody just stuck a screw in it. Nothing wrong with that, whatever works. But we're going to go back to OEM, so we won't need this screw anymore. Put an actual, and I noticed there's a zip tie there too. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Let's get our Fat Maxes here and whack that zip tie. we'll start doing some. Get rid of some of the electrical components. Set these aside for now. Let's see, we got probably more like a 10. That's what I was thinking. And you got an 8 on there. Sorry for the trips back and forth, guys. Things are crazy misplaced right now. Just got done redoing everything, and honestly, we're trying to get things back to normal. Right now, things are just a bit out of whack for us. We'll get her back together here shortly. That's a 10 millimeter there. Get the work light out of the way. And that should chase this wire down here. I'll go ahead and unplug it here. That CDI box off here in a minute. This one will just pop off. Just like that. And then should be over the bottom one too. Put a new rubber boot on it. That one feels kind of dry rotted. There we go. Got that. That's loose. Got that zip tie cut. It served its purpose. It definitely held on for dear life. So we got wires here that we need to unclip and pull through. Like that. I see we have another trusty zip tie right here. So, back to the old cutters without cutting those wires. Oops. And there goes the rear fairing. Put that over in the pile of goodies. Some of this stuff here you see. The Corbin seat we're going to reuse. Tank we're going to reuse. A lot of this plastic though be replaced. Definitely going to replace a lot of the plastics. Brand new plastics. So let's chase down. Let's go ahead and pop this off. Can't get the wrench on it, so we'll pop that off real quick and then continue working forward with the wires. And honestly, here in just a matter of no time, it's going to be down to the frame for sure. And then you'll watch the entire cleaning process and prepping the frame for paint and or powder coat or wrapping it, and whatever we decide to actually do. Kind of up in the air yet. Haven't really decided there for now. Okay, so there's the CDI. Put these back here, like so. Looks like so. Moving on. Clip that. Unclip that and see if we can't get that through there. Might end up having to take this plate off to get this through. I don't think it's gonna fit like that. Nope. Okay, so let's break out the old trusty 8mm here. Just take it off real well. That's going to be a 10. That's an 8 though on the ground. So that holds that. Nope. No idea what that is actually. It doesn't have a head on it. Just So maybe we can. All right, let's see here. Let's try something. I think this is gonna work. If I can feed this through first, I might be able to get this through. Yep, there we go. I'll leave that like that for now, because I'll probably just replace it. I have a, just so you know, I have a, found a parts bike today that I think I'm gonna buy. That'll give us a whole lot of good parts. Help us along here with this process. I think between the two of them I can make a one real nice bike. We're going to continue with this bike though, just so you know, the parts bike doesn't have a title. I guess it got lost or you know, whatever. Always a story with the titles. This has a clear, clean title. So, this will be the one that we rebuild, no matter what. And the other one will just literally be for parts. Just parts alone. So, I'm just going through and unclipping anything that might be clipped to the frame, so when we take this swing arm off here in a minute, everything's off. Another thing I need to take off while we're on the subject is I need to go ahead and take these mags off. Some people call them mags, some people call them, I've heard them called about everything. I call them mags. I guess that's probably actually an old term, but we need to go ahead and work on getting these off here, off of the frame. The goal is to get everything off the frame so it's just completely naked. No, I'm not gonna leave anything on it. No, not even, no nuts and bolts, nothing really. It's the only way you can do a professional job of wrapping or painting, or whatever it is you're trying to achieve, is if you take everything off. In my opinion, it'll be kind of botched if you leave stuff on and then try to paint around stuff and behind stuff, and just never will be right, and OCD will kick in at that point, and I'll be knowing that it's not actually painted right. It'll make me want to rip it apart again later and redo it, and so we might as well just do it one time while we're doing it, right? Alright, so this should just be on a right on a clip there. Alright, there's our, now we know our mags are good, so I'm gonna keep those, but I am gonna replace the plugs and wires. Those definitely are gonna be brand new. The I have a feeling the plugs and wires have been in there a while. I don't know for sure, and maybe I'm wrong when I look at them, but I think since we're redoing the entire bike, nut for nut and bolt for bolt, I think the right thing to do is new plugs, new wires. That little booger should pop right off, but it seems kind of rusty, so I don't know if it's gonna, yeah, you just need a little persuasion. Wiring harness is all undone all the way up to the front, so we are moving right along here. Looks like next we're going to go ahead and get the swing arms off. I honestly thought about stretching it, but to keep everything the way, you know, factory, I don't know that I will. So the swing arm generally is pretty easy to deal with. I take this bolt here, right here off. Should be a 16, I think, 16 millimeter. Releases that shock from the frame, and then we have a bolt here. I'll take the kickstand off, and I think there's a bolt on the bottom, and then honestly this just slides right off. Gonna sand it down. So let's get to it. That should be a, I believe that's a 16. We're about to find out. See if my theory's correct on that. I keep all my sockets in little. Nope, I was wrong. Looks like it might be a 17. 17 it is. For anybody that might need to know that, that's a 17 on the shock. Got an extension on there. I don't know if it'll be enough leverage. Surprisingly enough, it was. Huh. Well, that's about the, honestly, that's about the easiest one. Usually they takes so much torture. They just are so hard to get off. Usually end up having to use a breaker bar, but that one, absolutely not. Hardly had any pressure on it. Let's get the persuader and see if we can give it a couple love taps there. Might end up having to do a little old trick here. If I can get that out past the frame rail. Yep. Yep. There's my finger. Just in a bad spot. Just in a really bad spot there. Let's see if I can hold it a little closer maybe. Yep. Now, let me grab a long screwdriver and we'll just finish it off. Well, had a little bit of juice behind it, didn't it? There we go. Add just a little bit, not terrible. Like I said, it actually came out a lot easier than I thought, for sure. Now, we're gonna have to take this bottom one off too. And again, that's probably the same 17. Oops. So, yeah. There's my 18. There we go. So 17 millimeter onto the bottom. Nope. Sorry guys. That's a 15. You know what? I've done this before where I just slid that back. Let's just see if we can actually make that happen. If we can't, then we'll go ahead and take the bottom off and pull it. But I think we might be able to on this bike. See what the verdict is on this bottom one here. This is a 22. I knew it was a 20 something. I just didn't remember 20 what. Well, we got it. Thought we'd need a breaker bar on that one too. This bike's coming apart a lot easier than I had anticipated for it being in the elements for so many years. Let's go pull it from the other side. Little plastic cap, don't lose that. Those are really hard to find. I mean, you'll be looking for several parts bikes and they'll be missing. You just won't. Let's tap that from the other side and at least get the head out so we can grab it. There we go. But like I said, don't lose your cap. Unless you want to not have one, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's choice, really, preference. Try to wiggle it with some weight off of it. Lift up on it and just pull it on out. And then swing arm. Okay, so I'm gonna set it down. Yeah, not like that, but okay, so back up we go. Okay, so see, just lean it over there like that for now. Usually I have a motorcycle lift. We just clean the garage all out, and from many previous project, and a buddy wanted to borrow the lift, so I elected to do this one without it. I will say that this will be the last one I do without the lift table. It makes it a little trickier, that's for sure. So back to what I was doing here. We'll get back to the probably a 15. Take this shock bolt here off, and then that swing arm will come down. And I'm gonna go ahead and clean up, guys, and then I'll be right back with you and take a little break here. I don't like things getting all messed up here, so let me get this cleaned up and then we'll come right back.